Hello, welcome to this first series of videos. We're going to start our exercise by putting a point on the origin of our viewport. The next thing I'm going to do is reference this point into my grasshopper definition, so I'm going to add here a point parameter and reference it. Okay, so what we're gonna start to do is trying to define the overall height and length of our bridge. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create a set of points that help me locate these dimensions on space. So we're gonna start with the overall height of our bridge. So I'm gonna call a move component to displace this point. And I'm also gonna add a C vector. And to specify the distance, I'm gonna call a slider and I'm gonna set that value up to I think 20 would be a nice number. And I'm also gonna call this slider average height. And as you can see, now we have our point displacing on the C vector. So the next thing I'm gonna do is trying to specify the overall length of my bridge. So what I wanna do is try to displace this point on the x-axis and on both directions. So I'm gonna call again another set of move components to do that. And the next vector, as that is the direction I want my points to be moving. And I'm gonna create a slider to specify the average length of our bridge. I'm gonna call it average length. I'm gonna set this one up to, I think 50 would be okay. And as this value is gonna be my total length, what I want is to divide it by 2, because I want half to go on the positive direction and the other half of the negative direction. So in order to do that, I'll have to add some mathematical expressions to my vector to specify that this value should be divided by 2. So I'm gonna do that. Here in my expression tab, I'm gonna type whatever value goes into f divided by 2. And then for the other vector, I'm gonna do more or less the same, but I'm also gonna multiply it by -1, as I want this one to go on the negative direction. And then I can plug in my slider to my vectors. So now, as you can see, we have a couple of points displacing on the x-axis, specifying our overall length. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is to start putting up the first geometries that will define our profile curves. In this case, it will be a couple of circles. We're going to specify the center of this by displacing again these 2 points. So once again, I'm gonna call a couple of move components. And this time I'm gonna call again a C vector. And like in the previous cases, I'm gonna add a slider, but this time I'm gonna call this slider R1 or radius 1, as this value is also going to be referred for the radius of my circles. So I'm gonna set that up to 60 perhaps. Before I place my circles, I'll create a couple of CX planes as I want them to be in a vertical position instead of the horizontal XY orientation they have by default. So I'm gonna add those couple of planes now. Okay, so now with our planes in place, we can start creating our circles. So now we have a couple of circles referenced to these points. Next thing we're gonna do is to create a tangent arc between these two circles. So I'm gonna call a tangent arc component. And as you can see, this component is asking me for two base circles and a radius. So of course my circles are gonna be these I've just created. And for my radius, I'm gonna create another slider, which I'm gonna call R2, which is gonna be the second radius I'll be specifying. And I'm gonna set that one up to 50. Let me organize all these a little bit.